As I mentioned in the recent video I did on Poe Dameron number 4, I'm going to start trying to keep up with comic issues as they're released. Well, Han Solo issue number 2 came out on the same day as Poe Dameron 4, so this video is going to cover the top coolest moments and connections and Easter eggs from that issue. Of course, this is going to totally spoil that issue, so if you haven't read it yet and you plan to, don't watch this video. But if you have read it, feel free to watch, and I'd love to discuss it with you in the comments. But with that said, here we go. To recap, in the first issue, Leia and General Aaron Kraken have sent Han and Chewie on a mission to pick up rebel spies that are being hunted down. Their cover is a very prestigious race that will allow them to make pit stops and rescue the spies. So now, on to this issue. This first moment that I want to talk about isn't really a moment so much as it is a general theme of the issue, but we learn a lot about Han's reputation and status in the galaxy. He's fairly well known, the elite look down on him, and the more common people look up to him. Common people sounds weird to say, this isn't Game of Thrones, but the middle class? I don't know. What's interesting is that Han's non-elite status gains him fans among his peers. When Chewbacca picks up their first passenger, he's ambushed, but the fans that want to see him continue racing basically rescue him. I really liked that scene. It's kinda rare that we just get to see normal galactic citizens do anything. It's either rebels or Imperials or Jedi and Sith. It's very rarely just normal people taking a stand. Speaking of the rebel spy, he had some interesting moments himself. First of all, he's being guarded by a Falleen, which is more just an interesting little Easter egg. The race is known for their affiliation with Black Sun, so it's possible the criminal organization is actually helping the rebels, but it's just as likely that she's just a rebel sympathizer with no ties to crime. But when Chewie shows up, she mentions that it's been a long time since she'd seen a Wookiee. This is a nod to the enslavement of Kashyyyk. I believe the first Aftermath book estimated that there were only about a dozen non-enslaved Wookiees in the galaxy at all after Return of the Jedi. Finally, we got a bit of alien-on-alien racism, which I thought was interesting. The spy is a Duros who calls Chewie a thing that might eat him. I think the author is likely just telling a joke, but at the same time, this comic is surprisingly full of information about galactic society and socioeconomic classes. Next up, the Empire appears and begins arresting the racers, even the elite ones. At first, I thought they were specifically after Han, but now I'm not so sure. Stormtroopers begin beating up on one of the elite pilots, and Han actually comes to his aid. That same pilot had actually taken shots at the Falcon during the race, so I'm guessing they're gonna learn to work together and overcome their class differences. That's the vibe I'm getting anyway. The last moment I want to mention is something I don't quite understand yet. A racer named Lu-Ri Anno is constantly surrounded by these small, floating, apparently living creatures. One of them takes a liking to Han. I don't know what that means at all, but Lu-Ri hints that it's significant. I have no idea where that's gonna go. And with that, I'm gonna bring this video to a close. This issue, I think when compared to Poe Dameron number 4, it didn't have as many major connections or revelations, but I found it to be very interesting just exploring the galaxy's society and culture and different races and classes, and I could see that being very cool going forward. But I would love to hear what you thought of this issue, and I'd like to continue to hear what you think about this more detailed coverage of every comic issue. So make sure to leave me a comment. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.